Did did you say we're getting ready to end it all?
Random rabbit.
Random Rabbit Cult. Sign up online. Join us.
Guys, this
Coffee.
is our stream. This is our Twitch. Go ahead and jump on there if you ever miss any videos. But we definitely want you guys to jump on our YouTube channel, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know where you're from, what questions you have. And with that, I think it's time for topic number 1.
All right. Hello, everybody. So from the news today, a couple of good topics. So number 1, the U.S. infrastructure bill gets close to being law. So there were 10 last time we reported on. There were 10. Now there's 11 Republican senators supporting it, which is enough votes if all Democrats are on board to pass the bill. This plan would affect transportation, broadband, and water. We've known, but the bipartisan agreement right now it leaves out a lot of the Democrats' goals for clean energy and social programs. So those are some of the things that were kind of compromised away. In addition, something very interesting is that even though Joe Biden has promised not to have an increase of taxes on anyone making less than $400,000, the possible revenue raiser in this bipartisan plan is tying gas tax to inflation, which would be it's a tax on everybody and tax on the middle class. Even though it's not an income tax, it's still a tax. So that would kind of immediately, boom, right out the door. Joe Biden is going to raise taxes, which may be required to pass by a partisan bill, and he's going to have to wait. Does the value of the $1 trillion infrastructure bill outweigh, the political cost of breaking this promise so early on, as well as any upset that you would see in the citizens of the country now that you have gas tax tied to inflation, which is interesting because we also have inflation that's really high right now. So if that's persistent for the next year or two, and you tie that to inflation, would that be like a supercharged tax on us? You know what I mean? So I don't really know how that's going to work. It's obviously not been sent through yet, not signed into law, but definitely something to watch for. That we continue to watch for some of these developments. That is a big bill that's trying to come down the pipeline here. So.
When you say that, the most predominant people that I feel like are going to take a hit from this are airlines and truck drivers. So those are going to be interesting. I don't know if it goes into effect.
I think the gas tax pertains to the only people filling up at the pump. So I agree with truck drivers and anybody that's going to fill up a gas station. But I think airlines are going to they're going to have their futures contracts working to buy fuel and lock in prices in the future. They have their own kind of game. I don't think they'll be subject to the gas tax. I could be wrong, but I think it's only for people that use like the gas pumps and stuff.
Could be more for commercial airplanes rather than private airplanes, because they could have, definitely. Yeah. They're still. I feel like people are going to take a hit over here, and even though they're not going to raise taxes on the middle class or anything like that, it's still going to be.
Well, they're not raising. Yeah, they're not raising taxes on like our income. Like they're not like, this is a tax raise, but then they're like, but that gas tax is going to raise with inflation. But we're not like, we're not taxing your income. We're just taxing. It's going to cost more money at the pump, which is still a form of tax. It's just trying like a different way of squeezing it in there and be like, hey, it's not your income, but
random thing coming out. Josh just got a bike, so that gas tax isn't going to touch him.
Congratulations. That's the investment play here. Everybody, if you're looking to invest, go out, buy a bicycle.
And not a new bicycle, a used bicycle. Because
get those used, refurbished bicycles made of recycled material. Save the planet and save yourself some money.
Bikes are getting put down every day.
A hill.
Oh, man. All right. Topic number 2.
All right. Topic number 2. So Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, has survived its third attempt to be repealed in the Supreme Court. This is quoted from Justice Stephen Breyer. Neither the individual nor the state plaintiffs have shown that the injury they will suffer or have suffered is fairly traceable to the allegedly unlawful conduct. So what that's saying is, in terms of how this case was brought about, whatever was alleged in here did not kind of hold up. They did not feel that it held up to the claims they were making. So that was denied. So that's like the third blow to the parties trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act. As of currently, and I think it's also going to be kind of hard to do as well because it is so big. 31 million people have coverage because of this, and that's 11.3 through people who purchase plans, and then about 14.8 million who have obtained coverage under the expansion to Medicaid. So people that are on the state benefit level. And one interesting thing to note about this that we should be looking for is that Chuck Schumer said that he was obviously very happy about the outcome, and he said, okay, this is a good day, and we're going to try to make it bigger and better. So I'm not 100% sure what that means. I don't know what kind of pushback that's going to get. I don't know how much it's going to cost because again, we're spending lots of money, and we're kind of entering territories now where the amount of money we've been spending is starting to kind of grind to a halt. And a lot of, especially from the Republican side, they don't want Obamacare. They think it's an undue tax and a burden on the states. But they did in 2017, Congress did set as part of a tax bill, they eliminated Obama's so-called individual mandate penalties by reducing them to zero. So they did chip that some ago, but the whole ACA is still intact, moving forward, and potentially plans to expand it. So we'll see what that brings down the line.
Sounds good. I feel like this has been talked about for at least all of the last presidential election. Where wasn't Trump saying that he was going to repeal this, or that was like a huge platform of his, or the Republicans in general?
Ever since this was signed into law, there has been significant pushback against it. Republicans definitely don't like it. They don't want it. That was a big part of Donald Trump. Donald Trump had a couple of big policy notes that he wanted to hit in terms of repealing certain things or undoing certain executive actions and things like that. So it was definitely on the agenda, which didn't happen. And we can see here that I just think over time, as more people adopt this, it's going to be much harder to peel this back. Just like it was impossible to let the banks fail during 2008 because so many people have bank accounts, so many pensions were tied up, all this money up in the banks. If you have tens upon tens of millions of people getting healthcare and you take it away, you have to deal with that. Plus, tough to do. It's tough to stand on that stance and get elected, as well as tough to pass that in the Supreme Court. And in this case, I think the Supreme Court didn't rule for any bias. I think they said that what you presented didn't add up. It didn't show damages that you are alleging that are there. So, but I'm sure that's not the end of the story. I'm sure that this is going to become a big central point in politics, and also monetarily, because as this gets bigger and more people are using this program, we're spending more money and we're accruing more debt. That's kind of that big macro theme of just spending, and eventually spending has to end. It's a matter of how gradually we're able to kind of get to that period of time we have to spend less, or if we just crash into it and disaster.
What are your thoughts? You think we're crashing, or we think we're going to ride this one out?
I don't know. I think our entitlements for Medicare, Medicaid, and for Social Security are ending by 2030, 2040, 2050 by estimates over the last year or so. Those are going to be running dry. We're not going to have the money to pay for it. I think Joe Biden wants to put more entitlements on folks. I think that right now in this country we're the most divided we've been a very long time. People for very different things. There's even people out there calling for communism, calling for pure socialism, calling for all kinds of stuff. It doesn't really make any sense but they want it. So there's definitely a lot of emotion, and there's definitely a direction we're going in. But I don't think we're going to crash and burn anytime soon. But do I think that we're heading for a contraction at some point in the next few years? Absolutely. I don't see how we can't. But I don't know when. I don't know how that's going to look. But I think if we just keep giving entitlements without dealing with the amount of debt that we've taken, eventually we're going to have to answer that. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see in my lifetime how we deal with this problem.
Shoot, they're just going to leave it all in our lap and be like, okay, guys, you guys figure it out.
Next generation, all yours.
Thanks for playing the game.
Yeah. Good luck, kids. Have fun.
We played it. Yeah. We played it. We found all the loopholes. Got everyone underwater.
Yeah, we sucked all the value out of this. We're going to leave you with what's left. All right? And you better take care of it because you need it because it's your country.
Are you talking about Earth? Oh.
No, I'm talking about just America. We haven't got the Earth. We can't worry about the Earth right now, bro. We got to worry about America first, baby. Like we got our own problems. No, we'll worry about the Earth next.
We destroyed the Earth. It's your job to rebuild it. All right. So this next topic is definitely an interesting one. I feel like this is... I didn't know that there's so much of this going on in Facebook, but go ahead and let's jump in.
I found this article today, and really interesting. Facebook says it can ID deepfakes and the models used to make them. So they're working with Michigan State University on software that allows them to determine whether or not an image has been edited with AI software, whether it's a deep fake or not, as well as actually being able to identify the type of AI, the model used to actually generate this deep fake. And to do this, there's two major types of deepfakes that exist in the market right now. There's the wholly generated by AI, so the entire thing is a deepfake generated from, it's a video or an animation of kinds that looks like real life, and it's completely, it doesn't have any basis in reality. Like, it never happened at all. The whole thing has been doctored. The whole thing has been, manufactured. And then there's the using AI to manipulate authentic media. So this is post-production. So taking stuff, taking images, taking events, and then kind of adjusting the way things were said or things happened through this deepfake technology to make it look like people were saying or doing things that they weren't saying. So you're manipulating something that already exists, leveraging data that's already there. And to date, Facebook says it has collected and cataloged 100 different deepfake models so far.
Models.
Yeah, so these are the models used to generate, because you can go and you can use this stuff for free. You can use Fake App or Face Swap. These are applications that you can get on your phone for free, and you can generate this stuff. So it's it's not like super crazy technology, but people are evolving it, people are using it, and with the how much of this stuff is on the internet, it's definitely dangerous for social media companies or people that show news, because they need to be able to filter what's real and what's not. And they already have a hard time doing that. Now you have videos that look real. There was, I think, a story. Tom Cruise or something. They had a TikTok deep fake of Tom Cruise saying something, and it had like 50 million views, and people were arguing over whether or not it was real. It wasn't real. It was a deep fake, but it looked so real that people thought, how can that be fake? How can that not be him saying or doing? I didn't watch it, but saying or doing whatever it is he's doing. So definitely very interesting. Deep fakes are some big new tech that's coming out. So be on the lookout. Never, trust none of what you hear and only half what you see. That's ever more true now today, because you can even be looking at something that's not real. So definitely be cautious, but that just as much as this stuff is on the rise, companies are starting to step up, including cybersecurity in general. So people are starting to see these trends and get out ahead of it and say, okay, we need to do something about this. We need to understand this, because if we let it grow, it can become a threat that is significant down the line. Right now it seems to be pretty small and harmless, but if you can fake videos of people saying and doing things, there's so many applications that can be used for, maliciously, even if not being maliciously now. So,
I mean, I feel like if Facebook's very talking about it, then it's definitely way past the point of people using it maliciously.
Well, maybe, but it could just be the fact that people are pumping these out to Facebook, and they're trying to, it might not even be malicious. It might just be, white lies and harmless lies. But Facebook tries to keep the news as they try not to let anything that's not real in there. And deep fakes are themselves, they're not real. So, how does that work when you're saying, okay, we take down fake accounts, we take down fake posts, we take down, these robo-generated content. Well, what about AI-generated deep fake? How does that fall into your filtering algorithm? How do you deal with that, right? And do you just stop all of them? Do you just figure out to stop some of them? How do you stop some of them? Do you have to watch them and see if they're harmless or not? So I don't know how that really works.
Yeah, NeimanLab.org just did a statistic on 47%, 48 to 47% of people are deceived by these deep fakes outright. So nearly half the population gets deceived right off the bat, and they're getting better.
But and I think that because we have the dependence on media, because we spend so much time on the internet, those who do, I think, are much more susceptible to believing in these things, because they get sucked into these rabbit holes of the internet. But it's not necessarily real. Just because it's on the internet, it doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean it's real. It doesn't mean it's true. You have to verify it. You have to understand it. So I worry sometimes that we have a large generation, especially of young people, that grow up with technology. I didn't have an internet, and I wasn't able to play Xbox Online until I was in like my sophomore, junior of high school. And I have students that I've taught that were 7, 8 years old, and they're hanging out with iPads, and they're connected to the internet, and they're on YouTube, and they've got a social media profile, and so and they're going to be more susceptible to seeing this stuff too, because they're not going to be as well versed in the topic. So they're going to see something, and they might see it for the first time and be like, oh, that's real. That's what I saw that must be true, because they've never seen the alternative. They don't really understand how it works. They don't have enough information to be able to to look into that and say, I don't think that's real. So
I wonder if there are going to come about sites that have an age limit for sites, and if that's going to be like a next step for children to ensure that only they interact with children.
Well, we have like on YouTube when we post videos, it says, is this made for children? Yes or no? Parental guidance and all that. You can even lock people out in Google. You can have computers that have parental controls in their firewalls. So there's ways to do that. I imagine states will do that as well. That's how much burden is that on the people who make the websites, right? How much burden? Because also when it comes to social media, they're not really supposed to be the facilitators of filtering. They're not supposed to be the thought police. They're just supposed to be open source platforms. And for one reason or the other, someone's upset about this, someone's like that, they don't like this point of view. That it just gets into this world of now, Facebook has a council of people that get to judge whether or not your comments deem you worthy of being banned for a period of time. So I imagine that censorship is seeming to become a tool that they're using, but at the same time, I don't think that's right necessarily. But I also don't think that people getting to see deepfakes is safe. But to some degree, right, depending on what the content is. But at the same time, how much burden is it on the people posting content? But how much burden is it also on the individuals seeing content? Like, you can't complain. It's like, I saw that on the internet and it lied to me, so I'm not liable. I understand. If you read something in a book and then did something, would you go and sue the publisher? No. You saw it on the internet, so now it's the internet's job to make sure that you don't see lies. It's your job to do your due diligence. If you go on the internet and you see one thing and you're like, that's the answer, well, shame on you. And if you're wrong and your life is affected adversely, shame on you. That's your fault. That's no one's fault. It's not Mark Zuckerberg's fault. Okay, that's not Jeff Bezos' fault. That's not anyone's fault. That's your fault. You choose to receive information, then you choose how to act on it. If you can't, if you don't have the ability to be able to do that due diligence, maybe you shouldn't be browsing those topics, right? And a lot of media praise on that of like, you're not going to verify anything. You're just going to see this. You're going to be wowed by this. You're going to be emotionally tied into this. Do your homework, guys. Everybody, do your homework, and these things won't be as dangerous to us because you'll be able to understand like that isn't real or that is real. Or that's real data or that's fake data.
Social media has their hands tied, and they're going to be in for a very long battle as all this technology just becomes more prevalent.
I mean, anytime Facebook tries to put their foot down on censoring, I feel like this falls into the line of censoring. What media and or outlet is a deep fake? I mean, who's to challenge what's a deep fake or not? In the sense of, like, let's say Facebook does, deem a video, hey, this is a deep fake, but it really isn't, and they just keep removing your videos. How exactly are you?
Well, that's the thing too. Like, they have appeals boards, but I don't like any of that. It's like you're creating your own little government.
Exactly,
you're creating your own court system. You're creating your little empire. And when you think about it, companies are nothing more than their own little empires. They have a hierarchy, they have enforcement, they have rules, they have laws, they have protections. They can make partnerships with other companies. They have certain amounts of assets they can use and stake on their own. So, that's really what they are. It's just they're in the modern world. And, when you have someone like this is supposed to be a platform for free speech. I mean, I don't have any social media like that anymore. And that's partly for this reason. You know what I mean? Like, the world is just getting ridiculous. Like, you should be able to share your opinions without persecution. And it should be the thought of free flow of thought. And if there's fake information on there, well, you should do your own homework. I've never believed that it's the job of the internet to make sure that you get the right information. When you're writing papers and going to high school, they don't look at Wikipedia, don't cheat. You can't blame the internet if you get a wrong on your paper. They don't accept that. That's unacceptable because you're the one that has to do the action. You're the one receiving the information. You're the one that decides what to do with it. So pay attention and just,
Flip side, can you blame the news when they give false information?
Ooh.
I want to say that there should be a journalistic standard there, but you have to understand that most of these media stations are just mouthpieces. They're nothing more than tools. They're not journalists. They're not looking for recognition. They're just playing a game for their base. They're aligned on one side. They're going to take stories and spin it. I think there should be a standard for media companies, but at the same time, what is a media company? It's just a company. It needs to make more money than it spends, or it doesn't exist. How does it make more money? Ad revenue. How do you make money on ads? Viewers. How do you keep viewers? You have to keep it interesting and lively, which means you can't just report on the news every day. You have to make it interesting. You have to spin it. You have to bend it. You have to make it fit for the statistical, majority of your viewership to keep those core viewers, to keep your business.
Should there be an entity to overwatch the news and the mainstream news, or should we hand it off to the government to create an entity of its own for the mainstream news?
I think people need to stop becoming complacent and comfortable and saying, I only need one news source. I think we need to, because if we stand up and say, to hell with this, we're going to find our information on our own, we're going to boycott this, these companies will have to change their tune or they're not going to survive. Because you can't leave it to big government, because big government interacting with businesses, that's the other problem too. We don't want too big of a government. We don't want to give government the ability to do censorship, because that is just more so than it already has. That's insane. We don't want that. So that's what the goal shouldn't be, to censor people. The goal should be, we as the people need to break free. The media companies do this because they know it works. Well, the only reason they do it is because it does work. If it didn't work, they wouldn't do it. And I think that there is some burden on us, because I think as citizens, as people, we spend a lot of time saying, we're bigger and more powerful, so it's your job to fix the problem. But we are big as a unit, and we as individuals can make decisions, and we can exert as much power as we can, and we should do that. We should wake up and realize that, you know what, like, no one's gonna make them follow any specific rules. That's politics, that's the media, that's life. It's just full of lies and nonsense. The world is filled with liars, cheaters, and thieves. It's just the way the world works. It's human nature playing the system. So we have to be smart enough to recognize that and stand up and say, I'm done. I'm done watching this crap. I want to find it out for myself. I want to learn the information in my own decisions, not watch something that's going to flavor my decisions for me and tell me what I should think or suggest or coerce my way of thinking. So,
sounds good. I feel like we could just go on and on this topic.
It's a deep subject.
It really is. Deep fake. Ha ha ha.
But let's go on a quick break so we can restart the Zoom meeting.
We got 10 minutes. Let's go on next topic.
Let's go to the next topic then. All right, next topic then. So Amazon is asking social media companies to help root out reviews. This is something Amazon has been doing for a while, but it's asking to step it up because it says bad actors are increasingly using outside social media platforms to buy and sell fake product reviews. So you might know Alibaba. They're listed on the U.S. They made a watch list for counterfeit goods. Alibaba used to allow people to pay. I don't know if they still do, but they used to allow people to pay money to get their products bumped to the top of the line, get top reviews, top status, and that was obviously ridiculous because it's not even, forget free market. That's not just even remotely realistic, because you're not getting the best products, you're just getting garbage. But Amazon's trying to root this out because the people are being paid to leave reviews, which is artificially boosting product ratings, product viewership, right? How high they get ranked in the search, which might not be actually the best product. So the Amazon acknowledges that companies are helping, social media companies are helping, but they are still moving pretty slowly. And in the first 3 months of the year, Amazon said it flagged more than the first 3 months of last year, Amazon said it flagged more than 300 groups to social media companies, and it took those social media companies like 45 days to shut them down. So when you think about that, like, it takes 30 days to deactivate your account on Facebook, right? So it seems still within that realistic ballpark, but 45 days is a lot of time for these, can do a lot of damage, especially with the internet. It doesn't take much work to send information. And they also found in 2018, a UK investigator found reviews for rewards. That was the name of groups on Facebook. There were several of these that were made up of tens of thousands of members, and they would receive their payments through PayPal, which usually in the form of a refund for the product they bought and reviewed. So they buy the product, they get a good review, they say, great, you're basically getting that product for free. But that is still illegal. That's still wrong. And apparently last year, Amazon reports, and this is ridiculous, but Amazon reports it stopped than 200 million suspected fake reviews before they made it up the front page and shoppers could see them. 200 million fake reviews. That is, so kudos to Amazon. I mean, good job, guys, fighting back on that. That's great, but wow, it's a lot of fake garbage.
So here, I found some news saying how confident can you detect fake Amazon product reviews, and majority, 33%, say they are somewhat confident. And I mean, it just looks like a nice bell curve, but I don't think, I personally, I can say confidently, I never even bothered trying to decipher whether this is a fake review or a real review. If anything, I'm trying to figure out like which part of this review is going to affect obviously my purchase of it, but I never even thought that like, hey, this is just like fake generated. Yeah, maybe like the owner put up like, hey, greatest product on earth, saved by life.
Right, they advertise themselves.
Yeah, advertising themselves, but on the essence of saying that these are fake reviews and there's 200 million of them that were out there. I mean, that's just crazy.
They're detecting 6 fake reviews per second to just meet that 200 million number mark. Like that's
nuts.
That's crazy.
And just like I said before, like just in the last point, do your homework. You're gonna buy a product online. Like whenever I tag or anything, I go online, I Google the product homepage, I try to find information about it, try to find reviews from other places. Because yes, they could be faking reviews in all those places, but remember, if you can see a couple of sources and get those numbers, and you see they're all showing good reviews, people are saying good things about it, then you have a higher likelihood that you're gonna be okay. And I think that you should, again, always do your homework, especially on big purchases. If you're buying like $500 of the tech on Amazon, you should be doing your homework. You know, regardless of the reviews. Like you can look for the best products there as a jumping off point, but you should still be doing your homework. You spend this as the amount of money you spend, risk, increases. You should be doing more and more research to make sure that investment makes sense. The same way you would invest in the market. If you're going to have $20,000 investment in the market, you better make sure you've done your homework and you know what you're doing and you're confident in your strategy. Don't just throw it there and say, oh, damn it, the market lied to me. Like, well, sorry, pal.
Well, so this final one of the statistics also shows a graph saying that 78% of people do make their review and decision purchase. Well, sorry, let me just start over. Do product reviews on Amazon play a big role in your purchase decision? And that is a 78% yes. Amazon reviews. So yeah, it does make sense that there's 200 million fake reviews out there, because yes, it's effective. If 78% of these reviews, push someone to buy the product, I'm not going to lie, I'm probably going to be looking into something, not in the same manner, but people are making money in this way. I imagine there's companies out there who are being paid a lot of money, just like advertising, just like anything else, fake reviews. You pay a company.
Josh is going to start showcasing like all this tech. He's like, I've got this computer here and this great microphone. Josh, how much does that cost? Oh, I get the special discounts. I'm a reviewer.
And by the way, if you purchase now, and this isn't fake.
This is definitely a real review.
Read the reviews.
This thing literally helps me live forever every single day. It's amazing.
It's called Air, and I sell it for 3 times the price of what it's worth.
I bottle it live in front of you so you can see me catching fresh air.
Selling water to fish, guys.
Selling water to fish. Hell yeah.
All right. So, next topic.
Okay, next topic. I think we do this in about 3 minutes, 50 seconds. So we got this. All right. Driverless car in China. So what does that mean? Well, the company Baidu is partnering with the state-owned automaker BAIC Group, and they plan to build about 1,000 driverless autonomous vehicles over the next 3 to 5 years. The software they're using for this, get this, it's called Apollo, and the cars are called the Apollo Moons. So I will tell you that seems to me like a direct shot at the U.S. because we did the Apollo missions and we went to the moon. So it's just so it definitely looks like could be a shot like that. And it's interesting because right now America is focusing heavily on cleaner energy, and so China's not necessarily caring as much. They have a 30-year plan where they expect to peak their actual output of carbon by 2030. That's their plan as they ramp up production. They're like, schedule, we'll max it out at this rate, then we'll work our way down by 2050 to zero emissions, something like that. Have a plan for production. We have to basically prioritize our country production and growth before we worry about the environment. They've already said that. The state says, no, we're doing this now. But we see in America, we have lots of regulations that are regulatory hurdles to get through to actually get to a robo-taxi kind of society. And China doesn't have to deal necessarily with the same problems. The Chinese government doesn't have to worry about those same regulatory hurdles, justifying budgets to its voters, getting reelected every 4 years. You know what I mean? It could just kind of do the projects that it wants to do. So I could see this as China trying to kind of find a niche in the market and being able to push it and say, we'll become the leader in that field and get that out. The production date is still clear. And it's expected to have a 5-year operating cycle. So we'll see how this plays out. But the plan is to commercialize the road taxi service across all of China. And as I said before, right, they're not subject to the same regulatory hurdle. It's definitely more possible that they can move a lot faster and could probably try and get themselves into a first market mover position to have like a fully nationwide or mostly nationwide program for this, which would put them in a competitive advantage in that field. And one of the other things that their mass production and technology advance has allowed them to be able to make these cars and sell them at about roughly 480,000 yuan, which is roughly 75K, as opposed to the average, which is roughly 1 million yuan, 150K. So they've made some advances in their production lines and the technology used for these things. So they're actually able to get that price point down to make these cars more affordable as well. So it's definitely very, very, very interesting. And some of the competitors right now, though, that are working is also Didi, Didi, right? They're headed for an IPO in the US. WeRide and Pony.ai are three other companies that are technically their direct competitors at this time, working on autonomous vehicles as well. But definitely big news coming out of China there. Something to look at for the EV market and the autonomous vehicle market.
I mean, this is going to be huge. If they beat the U.S., which I feel the U.S. has been kind of leading with Tesla at the reins, I'll just throw that out there.
I think they might get to a point where they have autonomous vehicles commercialized for the whole country. Like it's like on the road. You know what I mean? Like not just that they're being made, because yes, a bunch of companies in America have them. I think that this might be them gunning for like we'll get it to be the standard before you do.
Universal transportation.
Right. Like that'll just become part of the Chinese every day.
Huh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's
amazing.
what I think. That's what I think that the target is here.
Wow,
that sounds awesome. China's saying we're going to be first.
Big.
Looks like it.
We'll see if that happens. Those are big allegations right there.
And with that, we're going to take a short little break.
Back in about a minute or two. All right. So, welcome back, everybody. All right. So, our fifth topic today, countries outside the U.S. are raising rates to combat inflation. So, we've been covering this for a little while, for the last couple of days, and nothing that we don't expect to happen, but just kind of just some re-emphasis on this, right? The U.S. inflation is driving the U.S. dollar growth and also driving global inflation, and with the U.S. economy being roughly 25% global GDP as a whole. Our monetary policy, our fiscal policy, everything we do is watched as a barometer, and the effects of what happens in our economy and the strength of the U.S. dollar, since it underpins so many things and so many people have it as currencies and they accept it or do business in it, it has an impact. So countries around the world have to react as well to the way we do things here. So there is an impact to the global economy as well, which can reverberate back to us, right? That's why economies are so hard to balance and figure out, is because you're not just individually, your economy, if you do global trade, you connect with other countries, everything you do is part of the global economy as well as part of your own economy. So to balance it and to make sure things don't go wrong, it's not always an easy feat. And in addition to that, if you do well in your country, but then you cause the global economy to shudder, if the global economy is lagging, there's only so much you can do to protect yourself from that lag. You can't stand alone while the rest of the world falls behind. You can't stand alone. We don't have that kind of system. We're too intertwined for that to happen. That's something important to watch. And higher rates, as countries raise rates, including the United States raise rates, is going to hurt countries, especially emerging market countries, countries that have borrowed a lot of debt in the U.S. dollar. And any of those things are going to look at definitely some pain down the road. And the U.S. dollar hurts emerging market economies or anyone who borrows in U.S. dollars, but helps larger exporters such as in Europe and East Asia, where products are now more competitive relative to U.S. exports, because when they export product, people can buy more with the U.S. dollar. So they're able to pump out more product. People are buying more and more of those things with a stronger U.S. dollar, because people can import and buy more with the strong U.S. dollar. But sellers who use the U.S. dollar could see a harder time moving product, because then their products become more expensive for other people to buy. So if we export to a country, they have to pay more U.S. dollars for the same thing as opposed to the way they did before. So and just some information here. We see Turkey, Russia, and Brazil, right, already raising their rates. Brazil's inflation is at 8%, and they just had their third 0.75 percentage point raise, with more planned ahead. Turkey's main interest rate is at 19%. They're combating double-digit inflation at the moment, and even though President Erdogan is pressuring them to lower rates, So they're going to see what that could do, because they can wind up lowering rates anyway to make funding more easily attainable. So we're going to see how that works out. But this is something I thought was interesting. Since the start of the year, the price of potatoes, cabbage, and carrots has risen by 60 to 80%. And this is part of something called the Borscht set, BORSCHT. And it's a bellwether indicator for many Russians because it involves the main ingredients in the country's beloved soup. So they use that as a bellwether to figure out how much inflation and what kind of price pressure there's going to be. And those core staples are up 60 to 80%. Wow. That is a lot of money. And in North Korea, too, we didn't do a separate thing about this, but based on their low crop yields and heavy inflation, some insiders, because there's very little data that comes out of North Korea, but some news stations have supposed sources. Based on what they say, this to say that they're looking at like bottles of shampoo that cost $200.
Goodness.
In North Korea, so there's a lot of heavy inflation.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
wow. That is absurd.
Even Germany's looking at 4% inflation. They usually do a good job of keeping inflation and outspending. They usually do a good job of keeping that contained. So from Norway to South Korea to Hungary, central banks are doing now or are planning to do within the next year rate increases. So the key balance here, though, is they want to figure out we don't want to stifle recovery. We also don't want to burn red hot. If we raise interest rates too fast and we don't give enough support, coming back from COVID, coming back from this growth, we could stifle it before it hits its maximum. But we have to figure out where that maximum is, because we don't want to go too far and let inflation get too out of hand, because then we won't be able to stop it, and then we kind of get stuck, in these in the forces of inflation that we really don't have control over, and we kind of get thrashed out too much of a way to stop it. So that's really the tough part here. I don't envy being a central banker. I don't envy making these policies. I don't know the answers whatsoever, but that is the balance. They're trying to make sure they don't stop recoveries too soon, but they also want to make sure they're not running red hot for too long. And that's so the whole world is dealing with this now. It's not just the United States. Everybody's dealing with huge inflation. Central banks are making moves. The global economy is taking notice and feeling these effects. So we're definitely going to be probably hearing more about this over the next couple of weeks.
Now, as inflation increases, Bitcoin looks better and better throughout the whole world as a currency or possible legal tender to then use with transactions. Go.
Okay, so like I said before about how complex the global economy is, as well as your sovereign economy versus the entire global economy. Imagine the difficulties we have now with currencies we can control the production of, interest rates we can control, deals and treaties. I replace all that with a free-floating digital asset that is not produced by any country and is not controlled by anybody. And ask yourself, do you want to be on the back end of that roller coaster? I don't know.
Take my money.
I don't know.
Take my money.
Look, Josh, you.
Take my money.
I can't wait when they find a way to transport your entire essence into digital code, and there's a digital world, Josh. I will literally make donations to you and let you buy furniture, and I'll help you out.
I will take that deal. You will purchase some expensive virtual furniture, and they will all be NFTs.
And then you know what I'll do? And some days when I don't like you, I'll pull the wire out of the router, just a lag switch it. So all of a sudden you'll be in your house, you'll be reaching for the soda, but you can't really quite get there for some reason. I'm like, oh Josh, what were you saying? Sorry, but I couldn't hear you.
Glitching.
You're like, oh my God, what was that? What was that?
Oh man.
So yeah, no, but I do think that, I hear that because Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies aren't really currently being affected by inflation. But what scares me the most, you can't have currencies that aren't affected by inflation. Everything is affected by inflation. If it's not affected by inflation, I don't know how that works. How is that a currency? No one's regulating it. It's not affected by inflation. It's barely being taxed in some places. I don't know how that replaces, right? Digital assets, I think, will
take his money. He's saying, take his money.
Look, I would love to just take your money, but I'm not giving you any crypto assets. I'm just going to take your money.
Okay. Next topic. Is this topic number 3, 4, 5?
Number 6. This is our boy Jeremy.
So, guys, we're going to be going over some rules that the DTC, which is stocks, ICC, which is default swaps, and OCC, which are options, came out with. So these are some pretty important ones that just came out in 2021. These are all coming down to this whole stock market bubble that has been just making its way into our life. and it's centered around meme stocks. So the first one, DTC 003, is the changes to risk margin reporting period from monthly to daily. So they used to have more lax rules where they'd look at margin and risk accounts. Now they're looking at it daily. So that just means there's more of a problem here than meets the eye. The next one is the amend the recovery and wind down plan. There's DTC 004. And this just outlines the procedures for asset liquidation in the event of a defaulting member. Again, they're just trying to make sure that everything lands upon the defaulting member and they have a whole procedure in order to break down their liquidating of their assets and everything like that. 005 we spoke about yesterday, but I'll go over it again. Assets tagging. So they're going to be tagging the assets nowadays, and shares and shared lending revisions. So this prevents loaned borrowed shares from being loaned and borrowed more than once. FTDs cannot be covered through option strategies, and of course the verbiage of the no liability to the DTCC if everyone just starts defaulting, or they're over leveraged or anything like that. And the last one on the stock side for the DTC 006 is remove the security holder tracking service. So it's just remove the old method of asset tracking in favor of DTC 005. So that's just an addendum to the 005. We're going to go on to the default swaps really quick. There's only one or two that I'm going to go over. One is just the recovery and wind down plan. That's, again, making sure that if anyone needs to be liquidated assets or anything in a defaulting member, they got it backed up. Same with the stocks, same with the options. We're looking at ICC 009. So update the ICC risk parameter setting and review policy. So changes calculation of risk from using month-to-month averages to using day-to-day averages. So again, they're looking at it day-to-day. They used to do it month-to-month, but now everyone's looking more and more closely because everyone is calling fraud in the market right now, and they are making these rules known and just putting them out like the house is on fire.
The next one is on fire.
The next one is OCC rules. So these are the option market rules, and the option market is OCC 004, revisions to OCC's auction participation requirements. So allows previously excluded firms to participate in auctions of assets when a member is liquidated. So before, a lot of institutions weren't able to, like BlackRock, weren't able to participate in these when default members end up liquidating their assets. They weren't able to participate in the auctions. Now they are giving different rules and allowing these other institutions to participate in the auctions. So that just tells me that there are going to be a lot of defaulting members, and people are going to need to pick up the slack and help out with recovering these businesses and buying them up and making sure our economy doesn't go down with these institutions. The next ones are really quick. NSCC 004, another one to amend the recovery and wind down plan. This is, again, everyone's just covering themselves and making sure defaulting members asset liquidation.
How do we benefit from these rules?
So we benefit from these rules by knowing that they're not just getting checked out month to month. They're getting checked out day to day now. They're not using month averages. They're using day averages now to make sure that everything, their margins are checked, their risk is checked. They're especially with the failed to deliveries, we're making sure that, hey, you can't use different option strategies in order to hide your failed to delivers. Just because you have your short positions, you don't want to shore up your position and cover your position, so you make your short position look like a long position in your book. That's just not fair, but that's what's been happening, and that's what 005 does. And these other rules that are just saying, hey, you want to liquidate your assets in an orderly fashion with this procedure and have no liability to the clearinghouse. So this is all just showing that the government, the DTCC, the SEC, everyone is trying to cover their butts right now and make sure that nothing is, all their I's are dotted, T's are crossed, J's are dotted too. And just making sure that when this happens, because it's going to happen soon, and they're just popping these out like nothing, that they are covered. So it's just more bias.
Do you not dot your E's as well? I dot my E's.
You know, sometimes.
You dot your P's?
And my Q's.
Dot your P's. So there's a lot of rules coming out. I only touched on the few key ones. But the next one that is going to be looked at is SR NYSE AMER 2021-29. So this just provides incentive for brokers to route real orders through the NYSE instead of through dark pools / off-market exchanges. And this leads me to my next topic. This would be it should be here. Meme stocks price may not properly reflect demand. NYSE president says. So the price may be distorted because the majority of trades in those names are executed away from public exchanges where share price formation occurs, the NYSE said on Wednesday. So there's a lot of transactions that don't even hit the actual market. Everything's being done around its back and nothing is actually hitting it unless they wanted to hit it. So they could do one institution to another and make trades to each other, or they could do everything through dark pools and have it affect the stock market. If you've seen level 1 data, level 2 data on stock when you're day trading, you can see that some come from these ARCA and other institutions, other clearinghouses that your stock market, you could see where your orders are being filled. And sometimes it just goes blank and you don't know where these orders are coming from. And sometimes orders come in the amount of 100,000 shares just being pumped in or dumped, and you don't even know where they're coming from. Those are dark pools. So these things occur, and it has been occurring in these meme stocks, especially GameStop and AMC. And the NYSE president, New York Stock Exchange president, just verified that this is a little out of control, and the majority of pricing is being routed through the dark pools, which is blatant manipulation. So another one, the next thing we're going to talk about is these overnight reverse repos. They hit a record high today at $755.8 billion. So the banks are parking their cash with the feds. And if you're just tuning in, yesterday the reverse repo was $502 million, the day before $520 billion, and it's just been hiking up, and today it just went up another $200 billion. So the banks are parking their cash with the Fed. They have so much free cash lying around, they don't know what to do with it. Overnight, they don't know what to do. Usually they would loan their money to another bank, and they would say, okay, well, we're going to loan it to the bank, they're going to give me a LIBOR rate of 1 point something %, and we're going to make great money. Well, they don't even trust that right now because they're parking all their money with the feds. The feds are giving them treasury bonds along with a fee that the feds are going to pay to them, which they changed from yesterday around 0% to 0.05% today. So you saw that jump to $755.8 billion. And if we calculate that, $755.8 billion multiplied by 0.05%, you're looking at them getting back a return of $377.9 million, along with their principal, of course. And that's just spread out between the institutions. Wow. So we're definitely looking at this, and I foresee it just keep hiking up in the future. They don't know what to do with their cash. They have way too much cash on hand, and it's just going to keep going up because they don't even trust the banks. And the banks have been going down these past 2 days, Citigroup especially. And I believe Citigroup especially because they have a lot of shorts on GME. Go figure. They're one of the top 10 that have a bunch of shorts on GME. So that's great. So we'll see. Later on, we'll get into more of these meme stocks. But let's get into science really quick.
We got some crypto.
We have crypto?
Yeah. Let's talk about some real news and some real facts.
Real news. Shots fired over here.
Kim Kardashian.
Wow, some real news right here, yeah.
Gives support towards Ethereum Max on Instagram Media Question Society's motives. Now, I just want to put this out there because if for any reason, and I'm talking directly to you, my audience, because I care and I love you, don't take financial advice from Kim Kardashian or any other Kardashian or anybody who uses makeup to sell and promote and market. That's not their market. Crypto stocks. Oh, yes. What?
I just have a rhetorical question, but what does Kim Kardashian do for a living? She doesn't do any of this shit. So you know what happens when she endorses something? Either she's making money on it because she's invested in it, or she's doing an endorsement because someone's paying her, or she just wants to put her face out there for fame. But none of those reasons, or any of the other reasons anyone can think of, is because Kim Kardashian
is truly
knows what she's talking about.
Ethereum Max.
Right, it all involves money for her.
I'm pretty sure she can't even spell Ethereum.
I think she could spell. I think she might be able to spell Ethereum, but I think that this to me just is one of those. There's a lot of momentum. So once you start seeing a lot of momentum, you start seeing the big companies and the big stars and the big names, and everyone's like, "I approve. I love this. This is amazing." Why didn't they come out and say this? Back when Bitcoin wasn't popular and it was worth nothing, because they're hopping on a hype wagon. So when you see all this, it's just more fuel on the fire trying to drive prices up. It's all the momentum of everyone hopping in the bandwagon and riding this thing up to the moon. But these people weren't sitting here saying this thing was great years ago. They weren't coming out and saying I support it and I love it. And so
my hope is that people just see the word Ethereum and they're like, yeah, let's buy more Ethereum. By all means, buy more Ethereum. Also, if you think, Ethereum Classic...
This is not financial advice.
If you think Ethereum Classic is Ethereum, then go ahead, buy more Ethereum Classic. But whatever you do your research first. There's a bunch of research out there. I'd say look at the charts. Ask someone who's currently investing or who's heavily invested into crypto and get their opinion. A lot of these superstars and big celebrities are just... They're getting paid for this. If I had to, they probably purchase like 1 trillion coins of this Ethereum Max, and if it goes up to, a penny, they're going to just sell out, and they just made a buttload of money while you guys probably just grabbed in near the high.
I read a story that because again, these are going to take over the world's currencies, yet there's thousands of them being made by anyone at any time to sell for profit. So there's a coin, there was a porn star, and it was called PAWG, right? It stands for fat ass white girl. And it was a coin that had I believe it was a porn star that was advertising it, and they directed you to the website. And when you went to the website said buy lots of this. And within a month, it was up to like $900 million in market cap or something. It grew 800 to 900%. It was ridiculous. That's plowed ridiculous. All the way up to, and that's what I'm saying. That asset is not recognized or used for anything. It just is a thing that people just buy. But for what purpose?
Oh.
It's like buying Dogecoin.
It's a joke.
But it costs real money.
I just went
if it was fake money, I'd be like, buy as many as you want. But it costs real money to buy jokes, and I'm just like, okay. If you want to throw your money on the ground, light it on fire,
and then watch it burn. They're like,
oh my god! And then when it goes away, they're like, oh, $10,000 on that trade. I'm like, that should have never happened.
And so it looks like it looks like it's available to purchase on Pancake Swap too.
Oh, jeez.
Look at
I'm
that.
sure you could pick it up many places.
It would be on a site called Pancake Swap.
Oh, if you're not familiar with Pancake Swap, Pancake Swap is one of the most universal exchanges, and they're also running a bunch of different projects, all doing cryptocurrency. Pancake Swap has been making huge waves. Definitely shout out to Pancake Swap because without Pancake Swap, there's no way to get to all these really shitty coins. And so,
yeah, thank you for providing a marketplace for people to burn their money. You are a national hero.
You are fantastic.
But it's a free market, so again, if you want to buy it, buy it. But it's not investment. It's not investing. It's not even close. You're not an investor. You're not investing. You are. I don't even know if you're speculating at that point.
It's not
you're
even
just
a gamble.
gambling.
This is
just straight. No, you're just straight gambling. You're just like, I bet people will pay 10 cents for this coin next year, so I will buy it at a fraction of a cent today, even though it has, like, this thing literally says powered by the assets of pogs around the world. that's what you're paying for. Like, that's.
Oh, look, there's underwear on the peach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, that's why I said the name of it, so people understood. So they're like, why is there underwear on the beach? Yes. It makes sense. It all comes. And it's a peach. You know what I mean? You know what peaches signify?
Yeah. I know what peaches signify.
Rear end. You know what I mean?
Georgia peaches. So third important piece of crypto news: Dogecoin knocked off of Coinbase Pro. Now, Coinbase Pro was saying they're gonna put this cryptocurrency on its platform. Now, what they did is they put it on there for a little bit, and then immediately blocked it, allowing only withdrawals and not allowing any more deposits. Now, the reason I bring this up is because every coin that they put onto Coinbase is not a legitimate investment option. Dogecoin is still highly volatile, still, it's getting its hype because of, we got billionaires jumping on it, but I have to say, until there's some real world technology behind it, or at least something that's a little bit more attainable, guys, this is just going to be one of those pump and dumps that as soon as it jumps onto Coinbase Pro and everybody has the ability to buy into it, I believe it's going to pump up. But you have to believe that as soon as it hits at least, what are we at right now? Did it hit? Is it back up to like 30 cents?
I have no idea. I stopped watching Doge after a while because
Doge is life.
It breaks my heart to see millions and billions of dollars of market cap and assets that have no underlying production, no real asset value, and no application in the world. It makes me feel like there's something wrong somewhere. It's broken.
And then why he keeps asking me about valuations. His DCF model hurts right now. Discounted cash flow model, by the way.
You couldn't do this for this assets because there's no cash flow here. There's no.
Hurts him
the value of coin is derived by the literal price people are willing to pay, denoted in the fiat currencies that it's trying to destroy.
I bought Dogecoin, knowing that I was going to hit Coinbase Pro, and look at the ride. So it didn't really go anywhere. For this week, we're looking at a high of 33, and then as soon as they started bringing on the news that they weren't going to list it or that it was going to get blocked, boom, we're just dropping. But it's not even a big drop. This is 3% over the week. Let's see, over the day, 3% over the month. That's not right.
3%, 33 to 30 is not 3%, is it?
No, that's not right. All right. Either way, right now, let's just be real. This is still a ridiculous price. This is still worthless coin. There's absolutely zero value. If you're in this, it's because you're literally just trying to make that long-term bet. There's nothing short-term going on. If they potentially make some technology, or I believe it was Elon Musk. Didn't he say he was going to take it over and throw some developers their way?
Elon Musk is sitting around with his friends, and every time they go for a beer, they're like, "Yo, guys, watch this. I love Dogecoin." And then it goes up, and he's like, "Yo, pay me. You said not 20%. Pay me 20%. That's right. Pay up." I guarantee that's what he's doing, because otherwise, what else? I think he's just enjoying his power.
He enjoys that he's able to sway the market any which way, whatever he says. But now everyone's going against him because Elon, you went too far.
Elon, you build spaceships that are reusable. You build cars that are electric and one day might drive themselves. there's really no reason why you should be, running your mouth about assets.
I mean, they have a I hate Elon coin.
Oh yeah, they do. They have Elon Moon.
Really?
They have I hate Elon.
But that's just more credit to Elon. That's just more. There's no such thing as bad press. You just made a tribute to the immortality of Elon Musk by creating a coin that says I hate Elon. Well, look at them. Who's Elon? Well, who's Elon say? And they go find who Elon is. They're like, oh my God, you're Elon Musk. It's. So I wouldn't be surprised if Elon Musk made the I hate Elon coin.
That's what I was thinking.
How many people bought the coin?
That was exactly what I was thinking. But here's the part where they're saying that there's one coin they're making in order to compete with Dogecoin, in order to say, hey, let's take away all the power from Elon Musk, put it towards this other crap meme coin. We'll actually do something with it, but this is all in direct, attack of Dogecoin. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I forget which one it was, but currently there's another one that I'm looking at right now, and it's called Safemoon. Another ridiculous one that's coming out. And I see a lot of celebrities.
There's so many.
There's a lot of celebrities jumping onto this one. It hasn't started pumping yet. It has a price of 0.00003794. And if you think that's affordable to you, you just drop $1 and you could get like 1,000 of these little puppies.
Right. That's the only benefit. Like if you can find a coin that's dirt cheap, put like a couple $100s on it when it's nothing, get before the rise and take off after that. Congratulations, you'll make a lot of money. But with these coins, like there's no guarantee with.
There are thousands of coins, thousands of cryptocurrencies, and you could put $1 into each one of those .0001 coins, and you put $1 into each one of those. If it gets to $1, 1 cent, if it gets to 1 cent, you already just made like $1,000 right there.
You made a ridiculous.
You'd be very little capital if you put on a couple of ones you think you're gonna. Oh my God! I have an alert. Hold on.
Did you
I thought someone was talking to you out of nowhere. I was just like, oh no.
I thought he was getting attacked out of nowhere. So yeah, for anybody who's looking to purchase any cryptocurrencies,
my alarm was set for PM instead of AM. So normally I get up at 7:30 in the morning.
Surprise!
Not today.
Surprise! So yeah, these are zero financial advice. There's no financial advice. If anything, these are the ones to look out for, because these are also the ones that are going about social media. Remember, if you hear it on social media, you probably either heard it too late because the big whales are already in it and they're just waiting for everybody else to pump it, or two, if it's part of social media, it's most likely not like a full-blown investment. Do your research on everything. Cardano's an amazing one. Throw all your money in there.
I want everyone to note that all these really rich people in the markets that we see, that the people that are millionaires now, they didn't do it because they traded a bunch of valueless coins and things that didn't matter and made their money in a month. They built portfolios, they made stable investments, they funded their portfolios, and they had stable growth. And now there's many ways to invest, but just know the majority of the individuals in the markets did not invest this way. So there are many other ways to make money, but this is probably the riskiest way to do it. So if you're going to do it, you and high risk, high reward.
Riskiest and quickest way. You just need to. By the way, I want to lose all your money. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to know, Josh. Last question coming from me. What happened when Kim Kardashian shouted out Ethereum?
Did it go up?
What did it go up?
So,
was it immediate? Was it like she said it, and then like within the hour it was up a couple percentage points?
So as soon as she said anything, everybody just called BS. Like nobody took her seriously for
the Ethereum went down.
Second, yeah, I'm pretty sure
they're just tanking. Like, oh wow,
Ethereum's like, why'd you say that?
Stay in your lane. Stop it.
Jump ship. We're out.
Oh jeez, that's horrible.
But but she's another person. Like, you shouldn't be talking about this stuff. Like, you should not be trying to exact any influence on any things. Like, you should not be putting your face on it. You should stick to the things that you're good at. Elon, stick to physics and chemistry and making the most amazing and some of the most amazing inventions you'll ever see. Kim Kardashian, stick to whatever thing
Whatever you do,
value,
whatever, walking around, just walk around.
Just exist. You know, just stop trying to make things worth money. Just exist, because that apparently is, working for you pretty well.
You know, I'm not hating on you.
Stop trying to promote cryptos, though.
Good job.
I'm looking at an Ethereum chart, and it looks as if as soon as the announcement came up, the price just started dropping. Nice down it goes.
Wait, the price started dropping?
When Kim Kardashian?
Did she make it? I was gonna say, did she make it look like more of a joke?
No.
Okay.
But the thing that I pull from this is that hopefully she's also bringing awareness to the crypto market, and that's what's gonna start driving more people to join in and come. And so I come put your money in the crypto market.
I think that when you have someone like Kim Kardashian go on there, then all of a sudden you get a bunch of investors. Are those a bunch of new investors that went on there and valued that asset and said, I'll make a smart and I'll try to make a smart trade because Kim Kardashian inspired me? Or are they just like, so Kim Kardashian says this crypto is good, that's all I need?
If you're jumping into the market right now, you're not a real investor.
No, but you're not okay. You're not investor. You're not an investor. You're gambling on things that have no underlying value. That's a very important distinction, because there are many ways to invest in the stock market, and there are many ways to trade. You can be a trader, but not an investor. You're speculating. You're making trades, but you're at best speculating, at worst gambling. You're not investing. You're not buying value. You're not doing research. Even if you're looking at the technicals, you're still arguably not investing. You're playing a game. You're not actually investing in something, because an investment is something very specific. And I think people need to understand that, because the Wall Street Journal, CNBC, a lot of times they don't actually talk about it either. They say, these are the GameStop investors. They're not investors. They're not. You're playing a game. You're on cryptos, on meme stocks, you're playing a game. You're gambling, and that's perfectly fine. You're gambling. Just know that you're gambling.
Unless you just turned 18 years old, then welcome to the club.
You're legally allowed to gamble, so.
Yeah.
And after you make all your money on Bitcoin, take it over to Atlantic City and try your luck on the slots. You know what I mean?
Because you'll probably have a better chance of winning there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have a better chance of winning the crypto market, but it depends on how you look at it. If you buy in the wrong times, you can lose a lot of money. So you got to time it right. And if we're thinking about this in the long term, I, as always, do not think this will be a benefit in the long term. I hope it doesn't pop. That would be horrible. Like, imagine Bitcoin went down to like $5 again.
Oh goodness, I'm buying.
I would definitely buy. Absolutely, I would buy. But I'm thinking about how many people would lose on the way down, just wiped out from existence.
Everyone's no one would put their money in it anymore. Honestly, after like 10 years, then it would pop up. But at that time, no one's going to touch it.
Goes back down to like half a cent. I'm going to spend $1,000, $2,000 on it and just sit on it for the rest of my life and be like, if it ever goes up again. But that's the only time I'd ever buy it. When the risk is so low, it's
you didn't want to buy it at 66,000, 60K?
I mean, honestly, look, if I bought it at 66,000, I would have made negative money, and that's my objective. I'm the kind of investor that wants to lose all their money as fast as possible. So, but that's my philosophy. Not
called overnight.
Yeah, it's called the overnight trade. When you have everything you own overnight in a ridiculous trade, you lose it all, and then you have to reconcile that the next day.
But that's why everyone do your research. This shouldn't just be like only guys do crypto, like ladies get into crypto. Everyone should be in investing.
There's actually a lot more girls I've talked to who's into crypto than I've heard who's into the stock market, which I am. I wouldn't say surprised, but I'm just like, hey, like they're looking into new tech, not the old tech.
So all people in the market, all people of any gender, the laws of crypto still apply to you no matter what gender you are. The risks still apply to you, and the logic still should be the same. So
money. We're going to the.
That's not.
We're going to the moon.
Well, you can, if you want to agree with Josh. I hate you both, but I love you. but I hate you both.
I think that's all the time we have for this podcast. We've hit our hour. We're past our hour. I'm pretty sure YouTube's gonna kick us off or something. But.
All right then. Well,
should we save the science topic for tomorrow?
For another day. There's more science to come.
There's always science.
Always science to come.
Always science.
Always.
Well, boys, as always, it was a pleasure.
This has been Random Rabbit.
This is Random Rabbit number 7.
Random Rabbit.
Signing off. If you guys haven't checked out our YouTube, go ahead and jump on there. we're uploading all our videos from today and from previous days. If you have any questions about topics, go onto our Twitch, ask us. There's a suggestion box. You can let us know what you guys really feel.
Or you can post in our channel on YouTube at Random Rabbit.
Always here to listen or answer.
Till next time,
or
guys.
Or read.
You guys have a good one. Peace.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.